The world watching and waiting, global leaders planning for what's next after a weekend of airstrikes in an escalating conflict between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. Good afternoon. This is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan. More death expected as the conflict between the U.S., Israel, and Iran is expanding, with Iran and Iranian-backed militias firing missiles at Israel and Arab states. With the conflict said to be widening today, this is a scene coming from Israeli warplanes hitting Lebanon's capital city, Beirut. The U.S. and Israel have not stopped bombing targets within Iran following the assassination of Iran's supreme leader over the weekend. But America has also seen casualties. Today, the U.S. president offered condolences to the families of American soldiers killed in the Iran operation, put into effect by the White House after months of planning.
Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people.
Iran has repeatedly stated it is not seeking a nuclear weapon. The war in Iran has spilled across the Middle East, with Iran's retaliatory missile strikes targeting U.S. assets and bases in several countries right across the region. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more from Turkey.
Here in Istanbul, the war being waged in this region is being watched closely. Iran and Turkey share a land border more than 500 kilometers long, and the close proximity to the fighting is weighing heavily on the minds of many as the tentacles of this war begin to spread and take hold. This video shows a fighter jet in Kuwait falling from the sky. Officials in that country confirming that a number of U.S. fighter jets crashed, though all crew members have survived. U.S. Central Command say 3 of its F-15 jets flying in support of Operation Epic Fury, the U.S. operation in Iran, went down over Kuwait due to an apparent friendly fire incident. In Saudi Arabia, heavy smoke could be seen billowing from this oil refinery after an Iranian drone strike was reported there. Early this morning, a British Air Force base in Cyprus says it too was targeted by an Iranian drone attack. Meanwhile, Israel and U.S. forces are increasing their pressure on Iran and its proxies in the region. The Israeli military confirming they've taken aim at Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, where at least 31 people are said to have been killed after the IDF accused Hezbollah of firing rockets towards Israel. Now, inside Iran, Red Crescent workers say more than 500 people have been killed, including at least 153. That includes children who died here when a U.S.-Israeli attack hit this school. Meanwhile, President Trump is warning that attacks on Iran will continue until all of Washington's objectives are achieved, while promising to avenge the death of 3 American soldiers who died in combat. This is a conflict that is escalating. Many here are pondering what the days ahead may have in store. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Istanbul.
New today, President Trump says the Iran operation should last 4 to 5 weeks and that it shouldn't go on longer than that. Even then, that's more than a month of a deadly approach, with several Ottawa residents spending the weekend worried about loved ones living in the region.
I just want my people to be freed and live a happy life. My people are courageous, and I love them, and I wish I was there to support them.
Yesterday, airlines suspended flights to Iran, and the federal government is urging Canadians to shelter in place. There has been a scramble to flee the violence, but the Ottawa woman you just heard from says that for now her mother is safe after leaving her home in Tehran. There have been several demonstrations and even celebrations in several Canadian cities as those with ties to the region make their feelings known publicly. Here in Ottawa, an eye-catching crash on Elgin today. Ottawa paramedics say they rushed to the scene and found a woman with her legs trapped beneath an OC Transpo bus. It happened on Elgin Street near Gladstone around 12:20 this afternoon. When our crews got there, the articulated bus was still present, and police investigated. Paramedics say firefighters were the ones with the heavy-duty equipment that could lift the bus and free the woman's legs. She was taken to hospital in stable condition. The injuries aren't life-threatening, but they could be life-changing. A crucial vote is getting underway this hour on a recommendation to suspend 30 programs at Algonquin College. The cuts would impact programs like journalism, business and hospitality courses, and the paralegal program. The college's Board of Governors has been warning about funding shortfalls and the cost of capping the number of international students being given the green light to study on Canadian soil. Stay with CTV Ottawa throughout the evening for the very latest on this vote. In the meantime, financial constraints are also hitting the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board, another multi-million-dollar deficit on the horizon. A report for the board's audit committee meeting tonight shows the board is looking at an $11.5 million deficit this school year, making it the 5th straight year the board will be in the red. Staff say the deficit is partly due to declining enrollment for elementary schools. The OCDSB has been under the supervision of Robert Plamondon since last June, when he was appointed by the province. Canada's largest public sector union is calling on the federal government to stop its early retirement incentive for employees, alleging it circumvents collective agreements. The Public Service Alliance of Canada has now filed an official complaint saying the program should be halted until specifics can be negotiated. CTV's Katie Griffin is here with all the details. Katie.
Well, Stefan, the federal government had been offering this as a way to reduce the number of layoffs needed. PSAC says the program launch has been botched. It's now filed a policy grievance to the Federal Public Sector Labor Relations and Employment Board, saying the government's offer circumvents key obligations under our collective agreements. About 68,000 early retirement notices were issued to federal public service workers in December. The union now urging the government to stop issuing those notices, saying that while it supports efforts to prevent involuntary layoffs, any policy needs to be negotiated.
No one knows what that means, how it's going to impact people. No one has seen any wording on it. And so why are you creating something new that's going to impact them when in the collective agreement you have something that's clear and transparent that has been mutually agreed on by the employer and the union? So that's really the issue here.
The federal budget released in November outlined a plan that would cut the size of the public service by 28,000 positions by 2029, including more than 12,000 through attrition and early retirement packages. Now, according to the government's website, the program still isn't available because the full budget hasn't received royal assent. Once it does, people will have to apply within 120 days, and if they're approved, they'll have to retire within about 10 months. Stefan.
CTV's Katie Griffin reporting live for us. Thank you, Katie.
Welcome.
As the federal government continues to shrink its workforce, the province is patting itself on the back for the job creation that's coming with the extensive Ring of Fire mining project.
We want to accelerate the roads up there because it doesn't just bring mining, it brings opportunities for their young people.
The province announcing today the construction of roads, which will be part of the infrastructure needed should start this year and be completed by 2031. It paves the way for the Northern Ontario mining venture to get going sooner rather than later, as this is being built several years ahead of schedule. The Ford government says First Nations will be full economic partners. The Ring of Fire is expected to bring in billions of dollars. Coming up on CTV News at 5, finding Ottawa's worst commutes. We ride along with public transit users this week as different ends of the city claim to have the most challenging time getting to work. CFRA's Christy Cameron will join us with what her listeners are saying about it. And our Jackie Perez is here live in studio with us for our first check on the weather. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Yeah, it's a good time to be inside because it was a brisk day today with chilly conditions. Right now, it's warmed up a bit for this afternoon. Temperatures sitting around -7 here in Ottawa. Lots of sunshine as well, but really throughout eastern Ontario, temperatures sitting between -6, -8 degrees. Taking a closer look at overnight, we're getting down to about -15. The clear skies will carry us into tomorrow morning. Another dry, sunny day for our Tuesday, but tomorrow morning with that wind chill, it's going to feel closer to -24. We'll have a closer look at your long-term forecast in just a bit. Stefan.
Thank you, Jackie. Here's what you need to know. The Ottawa Charge are back in action this Wednesday on home ice. They take on the Seattle Torrent at TD Place at 7 p.m. A live check on traffic right now. Things are slow going between Parkdale and Woodruff in the westbound lanes. Eastbound is slow from Riverside to Ennis, and the 174 to Orleans slow between the Split and Montreal Road. You're watching CTV News at 5. Welcome back to CTV News at 5. We have a special news series kicking off tonight. Our reporters are putting public transit commutes to the test, as many users say their routes aren't reasonable. CTV's Leah LaRocque gives us a preview of her full report making a debut at 6 o'clock.
So many OC Transpo users have a pretty elaborate commute into the office. I tried one going from the Hunt Club area all the way here to Gatineau. It involved 2 buses, 2 trains, and a little bit of walking, and a quick emergency pit stop to get some cash. I will have all of those details coming up about some of the commutes that a lot of passengers face every single day.
All right, thank you for that, Leah. Again, that special coverage is being launched on the 6 p.m. news today, but it's also sparking a conversation on News Talk Radio 580 CFRA. Today's radio question of the day is asking, what is Ottawa's worst transit commute?
As a part-time paratransfer user, I get to go back on that bus, back to that scheduling system, and come back and realize how broken this is compared to jumping on my bus, my OC bus that's right outside my door.
Christy Cameron is here with more. And Christy, I can only imagine that many people have some sort of take on this.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing with OC Transpo, I think that is the most frustrating, Steph, is that they said reliability was going to get better. The new ways to bus overhaul, where they actually cut bus routes and cut, where people were picking them up, was meant to make things better, but I don't think that it has. I mean, the data shows that it absolutely, objectively has not. You've got a lot of people that live in the suburbs complaining that this whole bus-to-train model, taking the LRT and then getting on a bus doesn't work because they get stuck waiting at Blair in the east and Tunney's in the west. You have paratranspo users complaining that it's not reliable enough for them to get to appointments, that you can't live life that way, booking 24 hours in advance. And the other thing is I hear from a lot of students, because bus routes 6 and 7, which serve Carleton University in downtown Ottawa, are so vastly unreliable that they complain it's really limiting when it comes to looking for jobs.
Any surprising lengths of time? Because I'm hearing people talking about maybe taking 2 hours to get to work. That's a drive to Montreal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, even longer than that. I've heard people say it takes 2.5 hours, depending on the weather. Now, of course, inclement weather factors in. But we used to have express buses.
Right.
And I don't know if you heard the show today, we had a lot of love for the express buses. People saying, why did we take them away? There was a time in the mid-90s when life was a little bit different, where people could get, places a lot faster to the west end, to the east end. I mean, don't even mention trying to transfer over to STO, the Gatineau Transit Service. That is really inconvenient. We're just hearing from a ton of people, so many, in fact, that we had to put some of them on hold until the final hour of the show.
Well, that's a good show. Thank you, Christy. You can join the conversation, leave a comment through the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6. And now watch Christy's segments on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA channel.
We're advancing towards a Canada-India Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, Prime Minister Mark Carney on the move. He has just wrapped up trade talks in India, and he's heading to Australia next. We'll bring you the latest on his trade mission a little later. Here's what else you need to know. Get ready for spring at the annual CD Saturday event this weekend. You can buy seeds, check our workshops, buy experienced gardeners and more. It's on from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Emmanuel United Church on Smythe Road, and admission is free. Another live check on traffic. You can see that it's very busy in the westbound lanes. That busyness starts at Parkdale and starts to ease around Woodruff. We'll be right back. Coming up tonight on CTV after the news, E-Talk starts at 7, The Big Bang Theory at 7:30, Extracted at 8, then Memory of a Killer at 9, followed by The Rookie. After a brief cold snap this past weekend, milder temperatures are on the way for Eastern Ontario. With another check on the weather, here's Jackie Pears, who is live in studio for us. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. By the end of the week, we could see multiple days that are hovering near the 10-degree mark. And as we begin the month of March, it has many wondering what it could mean for the Rideau Canal Skateway. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam, and it's -7 out right now, so conditions pretty fair and good on the Canal Skateway. Alexandra Bridge and Wacky Point is what you are viewing right now. The sunset inching closer and closer to 6 p.m. And keep in mind the last year's official closing day for this gateway was March 10th. So we still have a couple of days pending the weather, of course. We are looking at temperatures across eastern Ontario, really averaging about -7 right now, -11 later this evening. And around midnight, the wind chill is going to kick in, feeling more like -20. Tomorrow, it's going to be another chilly start to the morning, -17 to kick things off with lots of sunshine, but it's going to feel closer to -24. But then we're going to take a twist and we're going to start to see milder conditions. Daytime high will be 1 degree, and we will start to see temperatures hovering not just around the freezing mark, but it's starting to climb as we get to Friday. Taking a closer look along the seaway, -13 overnight lows, clear skies, 2 degrees, and mainly cloudy for tomorrow's daytime high. And as we look towards the valley, -15 degrees, clear skies, and sunny. 1 degree will be the daytime high by the time the afternoon rolls around. So Tuesday, going into Wednesday, and even Thursday, I should say, that we are expecting clear, dry conditions, more sunshine than what we saw last week, that's for sure. Wednesday, 4 degrees will be the daytime high. -5 is the overnight low. And while it will be a little bit chilly for Thursday, cloudy skies, 2 degrees. But take a look at Saturday. Yes, we will see some precipitation, but 10 degrees is the anticipated daytime high for Saturday.
Weather is brought to you by Manotick Tree. Complete tree care from start to stump.
The Ottawa Home and Garden Show, presented by RE/MAX, is happening March 19th to 22nd at the EY Centre, and we want you to find everything you need to tackle your home and garden projects. We're giving you a chance to win tickets to the show, plus one lucky viewer will win the grand prize, a $2,500 gift card and VIP seating. Enter for your chance to win on our contest page at ctvottawa.ca. Wishing you the best of luck. All right, Stefan, taking a look at these temperatures, we are anticipating milder conditions by the end of the week. So maybe tonight is the best night to hit the canal, because I have a feeling it may be closing very, very soon.
Okay, the speculation is on. We're making wagers around the newsroom. Thank you for this, Jackie.
You're welcome.
And here's a look at the stories you're checking out right now on CTV News Ottawa.ca. If you go to our homepage at the moment, you'll notice the red breaking news banner at the top. This headline reads, Israel beginning a new wave of strikes on Tehran. And then you can follow for live updates if you want to track the conflict happening in the Middle East currently. But also you may want to check out this article. Ottawa gas prices to spike due to the Middle East conflict. So it will impact you here at the pumps, things rising by about 5 cents on average by Wednesday. South of the border, they were expecting things to rise as of noon today. Coming up on CTV News at 5. Ontarians have their say on giving a raise to MPPs, and the results don't seem to be in their favor. Here's what you need to know. Check out the Byward Beer Fest this Friday and Saturday at Lowertown Brewery in the heart of the Byward Market. Enjoy a variety of craft beers, delicious food, and live entertainment. The event starts at 6:30 p.m. on both evenings. If you need gas tonight, one of today's cheapest gas prices can be found at the McEwen station on Carling Avenue in the Nepean area. Regular gas there is listed for 127.9 cents a liter. Here's another live check on traffic. Again, the busiest spot on the Queensway right now will be between Parkdale and Woodruff in the westbound lanes. Everything else looking fairly average at this time. You're watching CTV News at 5.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass sky cam. Nice and bright out there. Temperature-wise, we're sitting at -7. And here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock.
It's not as bad as it's going to get. Let's put it that way, given the fact that the political situation in the Middle East.
It's expected to be a painful week at the pump for Canadians. U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran have sent oil prices surging, and experts say the worst is still to come. The fate of 30 Algonquin College programs is being determined as we speak. The college's board of directors is voting on a recommendation to cut 30 programs, including business and hospitality courses, journalism and paralegal, and kicking off a new special tonight CTV's Leila Rock will have that a little later, but we are also looking into the worst commutes.
So many OC Transpo users have a pretty elaborate commute into the office. I tried one going from the Hunt Club area all the way here to Gatineau.
We are finding Ottawa's worst commutes. We launched several days of coverage. Again, that starts tonight at 6. Now the final 5 other stories we're following today.
We're advancing towards a Canada-India Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with the aim to conclude by the end of this year.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has wrapped up a 4-day visit to India, capping the trip by signing a series of deals worth billions of dollars. The Prime Minister will visit Australia next as he continues his latest overseas trade mission. In the meantime, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is in London today, London, England, meeting with British political and business leaders. Poilievre says his trip is aimed at deepening trade and security between the UK and Canada. He is also scheduled to attend a reception this evening for an international body promoting closer ties on trade, migration and foreign policy between Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the UK. Poilievre is also set to travel to Germany later this week. Today is the deadline to make an RRSP contribution for the 2025 tax year. Any contributions made after today will have to be claimed as deductions on a 2026 tax return. The deduction limit for 2025 is 18% of earned income, up to a maximum of roughly $32,000. A new poll suggests a majority of Ontarians oppose another pay increase for MPPs. The Leger survey, which was commissioned by the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, found 75% of Ontarians are against MPPs getting a pay raise this year. That is compared to just 12% in favor. MPPs are set to get an estimated 4.2% pay bump on April 1st. They also voted to give themselves a 35% raise last year and reinstated annual pay raises for whenever federal MPs get a raise.
I'm a winter person, so I think this is absolutely great. We've gotten out skating many times this winter on the canal.
We were worried the conditions wouldn't be good enough for skating.
Making the most of what's left of winter, a one-day cold snap gripping the capital today before temperatures will feel more spring-like for the rest of the week. That was CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. Thanks for watching.